Recently, I find that there's a group of students with the leadership of feeling that they start to initiate a campaign about increasing the awareness of mental health. So for me, I just wanted to share my story with this issue. I have been diagnosed with ADHD and anxiety almost 3 years ago, but the stories go much more beyond that. Since I was a child, let's say from my sixth grade, I always feel that there's something wrong. I have an issue with my thought. This someone I call him metaphorically the monster that was always know what is the most annoying things that was concerning me during this period, and this monster who's able to control my thought will keep bring it to me too much frequently the whole day. And whenever for example I start to adapt with whatever he was giving to me, then he will in the next phase he will bring another annoying thought. He will keep bringing it to my mind the whole day, never stop. And for me that's something that was too much annoying that I really didn't know what to do with that. And but since and that's an issue you would in general with mental health, that it's not really clear whether it's very hard for you to know whether you have an issue or not, especially considering that we don't have much more knowledge, we don't have much more awareness, especially in Arabic country. Usually in Arabic country you would never really consider going to the psychiatrist unless you already become crazy or you just one step further from being crazy. So I did have this issue, but it was okay since I was already going on with my study. I finished my secondary school, I start my high school, and since the study in Saudi Arabia was quite easy, meaning that you enter your final exam, you know what is your questions, you know what is the answer. So I didn't really put in some sort of conflict that make me really start to feel that there's something wrong. Although I have a lot of annoying thoughts, but I thought that this is quite normal and everyone have it. And yes, so I just continued with my high school, and I was able to get to join to UTM Johor. I study engineering there, and when come to study engineering, then the issue of my mental disorders become very pervasive, meaning that in my high school I was able to manage myself. By the way, people who doesn't know what is ADHD is, ADHD is attention deficit hyper disorder, meaning that you will be hyperactive, hyper distract, hyper distractive, meaning that you cannot focus on whatever you are doing. If you even on whenever you try to focus about anything, your mind will keep just turn away. It doesn't mean that ADHD cannot focus. We can focus if something that we are interested in, like playing games, for example. I can play games for 5 hours. I would be very focused. But when we do something as boring as study, for example, the average person will be able to exert like an average level of attention. For me, for us, that doesn't exist. Whether it's too much high, whether it's too much low. So when I enter engineering, and I was way behind my most of my classmates, so I have to study the whole day. And something that you would know that before this, usually to avoid dealing with this monster in my mind, I would just make my mind busy about playing games, watching anime, doing anything that just make my mind distracted away from listening to all these annoying thoughts. But when I entered engineering, I couldn't have these options because I have to study a lot. And when you do something boring, of course your mind will be much more active. You when annoying thoughts will keep much more coming. And at this time I couldn't avoid it, and I have to deal with it, and it was too much annoying. And also considering the fact that I was studying hard even more than most of my friends, but I was hardly able to pass my exam or to pass my test, and this was something that was too much disappointed. And after I finished my first year, I was able to pass somehow. I was able to pass. I don't know how. And I start my second year. During this time, something very important for me happened, and it will affect me in the future, which is I start writing, meaning that you start to reach a point where I said, okay, it seems like I cannot avoid this monster the whole time. So instead of keep just trying to avoid him, just listening to music, just watching anime, okay, I will just listen to him and write what he's bringing into my mind. into my journal. So I start my diary. I call it a diary of distracted person, just to humiliate myself. I don't know, but like I started with this name, and I start really write whenever it come any annoying thoughts, whenever it come any issues. I start write down. I end up writing around 70 pages in the first semester, but that's not the main point. But like that's something, just put it around because it will help me later on. And during my third semester in engineering, I said, okay, maybe I'm not good at studying. I just washed my hand from that. And there was a robotic club in university in UTM. So I said, okay, maybe I can be good in something else. So let me try to join this robotic club, which is not easy because you have to enter competitions, and after that, after you finish the competition, they will make an interview with you, and you will be say whether you will be accepted or not. So like I really tried hard. Even I really, like, how can I say, I have neglected my study during this semester, and I said, okay, let me just focus on this robotic. Maybe I can have a better future with that, and who knows. But I find that the same issues that was happening with my study keep also repeated again when I enter this competition, meaning that I spend the whole day trying to do the things that all the other are doing. Try to, in robotics, you will have to build a circuit, you will have to make all these electrical connections. And for me, I was a way more behind all the other people that was joining with me, meaning that like I spent even like more time than most of them. Like will go from, let's say, 6 morning until 5 6 p.m. until 5 a.m., but I've still not have any progress, and that's something very disappointed. But like, okay, yes, maybe okay, never mind. And what really have really hurt me too much that after that, after we entered this competition, of course, my robotic wasn't didn't function, and I get this interview, and among 40 students who have applied for the interview, around maybe 38 or 37 have been accepted. Just me and another two who didn't get accepted, and this was very disappointing because I start to think that like even this one I'm not good at. So during this time, it was one of the hardest period. I get a lot of suicidal ideation too much frequently, that from morning until night I keep always imagining this. Since I'm Muslim, of course I cannot commit suicide, so I pray for God that maybe car will crash me. I don't want to stay alive. Like it was too much painful that you keep do something that you feel that you will not ever be able to do. You know that I studied the whole life, but I get nothing. Even until this one, I still get nothing. So what like so what so what I'm good at, and what is the idea of staying alive, since I seemed to me that I was kind useless, hopeless person, like nothing. I don't have any things that I can do for the world. So like it was too much hard, it was too much painful period that I wish that, yes, I get a lot of suicidal thoughts, which is yes. And but luckily I finished that third semester. I said, okay, let me the fourth semester focus back again to my study. I have tried. People always will keep saying maybe you didn't study in the right way. I have tried all the studying methods that could ever exist. I have talked with almost. I have asked advice for almost everyone. I finished two courses about learning how to learn, but it's still simply I couldn't find the solution, and I didn't understand why. All that I don't know that I have ADHD or anxiety, or that I don't know that even such things exist. I didn't know that might be some disorder regarding the attention. So like, okay. So during my first semester, I said, okay, we'll just study hard. I tried a new studying method that very much, uh, yes, I, yes, try okay that based on my experience. And after that, I still get very low mark as well. And one day, while I was reading about some books about the how to eat fast, he mentioned quite fastly about an issue called ADHD. I just passed by, but it somehow stick in my mind because during this holiday, I mean mid during the sem break after I finished my fourth semester, I said, okay, let me go and search what is ADHD. This is, and I go, I see people's story. Oh, that's I mean like it's very similar to me. Like I feel that like that's me, but And that's something you would know in general. This is a rule of thumb you need to know about mental disorder. That if you read the symptoms of any mental disorder, you will find it very similar to you. Like you will find uh, a lot of similarities because, like, for example, everyone got distracted. That is normal. Everyone gets stressed from time to time. That's normal. But like, uh, but like it, but like if you just just read the symptoms and reflect on yourself, you will discover that you have all the mental disorder that exists in this world. But like that's why you will need to ask the psychiatrist to verify, because usually to be able to verify whether you have mental disorder or not, you need to see what is how much the frequency, I mean, how much the intensity of this mental disorder, and what is how long it's been last with you. So that is something just to consider. So I said, okay, maybe just imagining, so that's not enough. So I asked my friends who was doing master in psychology that could you have to give me any assessment for ADHD, and he gave me assessment that usually, like, if you get 4 or above, you suspected to have ADHD. I got, I think, 12. I'm not sure. I got really very high mark, which was quite nice that I didn't study for this exam, but I still get high mark. Okay, anyway. So after that, I said, okay, let me just talk with my parents, and I'm expecting that they will tell me, "No, okay, son, don't worry about this issue. Is just, just ignore it." But for my surprise, when I told them that I'm suspecting that I have issue about the attention, they told me, "Yes, we know that. Like, you have been diagnosed when you was a child." I said, "Oh, really? I didn't know that. No one told me about that, and I don't remember that I have been diagnosed when I was a child." And I feel bad, that if you tell me about, well, I believe that there's many choices, there's many decisions I would be like, there's many decisions I wouldn't make, and there's many other options I would take. So, but okay, but at least that's something nice when you know about that you have mental disorder, that you can throw your own failure on something else. So that somehow make me feel happy to be doing this period, because so now I start to realize, maybe I'm not just stupid because I'm stupid. Maybe I'm stupid because I have other things that make me stupid. So after that, uh, after that I said, okay, maybe I have this issue, but as any, and we also comment that I don't want to go to psychiatrist. I don't want to take medication. Medication, would make you like zombies. So I said, okay, no need for take medication. Try to manage it by myself. And I tried during my third semester. I tried another option, another solution, but I reached a certain point where my lecturers come and tell me that if you continue in this way, you will never pass. If you have an issue, you need to go to the psychiatrist. Then I decided to go to the psychiatrist. And when I go to him, I was suspected I have ADHD, but I didn't know that I have anxiety. I you would never know that I have anxiety until I told you. I would always smile at people's face, to always look happy. Like, I never suspected I have this issue, but for my surprise, I have been diagnosed with that. And I start to take medication, and yes, and unlike what people think, medication wouldn't really make you a zombie. Like, I still take medication for almost 3 years, and I'm still very active, still very, but it will help a lot. I mean, without the medication, it would be very hard for me to stay on this desk to study for a long time. So in general, that's something people need to understand. I do believe that life is all about suffering, but the question is that what kind of suffering that is much more deserved, meaning that yes, you would suffer anyway, you cannot avoid it, but it's better for you to choose the suffering that would be much more value for yourself. At the same time, if you can avoid unnecessarily suffering, like the mental disorder issue, that will be fine. It doesn't mean that when you take all these things, you will already be fine, you will already be happy. No, not necessarily. But you would focus on other things that it will be much more important, and avoid unnecessarily annoyment. So yes, so I started taking medications that really helped me a lot, and it helped me with my study. But still, I couldn't manage with engineering, and I started to study psychology during my free time after I've been diagnosed. I have finished multiple books, multiple lectures, multiple series of lectures. That's all when I was at U- UTM before even I come here. So what is during my one semester before I graduate from engineering, I also become too much hopeless. I reach a point where I start up a lot of suicidal ideation again. until one of my friends, when he see my conditions, he told me, "What are you doing here? Like you are not supposed to be here." And then he luckily he was PhD student, and he discussed with my father, and he because for me so far I was very feeling shy of my father that he already spent all this money. So I come now and tell him I want to change, I want to study psychology. I'm wasting a lot of money. So I was feeling too much shy, too much, you know, I was feeling bad to do such things. But after my friends have talked with him, I've described him my condition, I get the courage, and they said, okay, my father, I will not continue engineering, I will study psychology. And after 2 weeks, it was one of the hardest 2 weeks in my life. That after negotiation with many people, I have even been visit a counselor to see whether I really have to change my field or not, or I'm just playing around. And after I discussed with him, he told me that yes, you should not continue. You should not continue in engineering anymore. You have to go to psychology. He told me that you already have the potentials and you already know what you are want to do. And here's one of the main point. Like, okay, after I already spent almost 60 minutes, the things that helped me really to go through all this suffering, which I believe that many people doesn't really consider, and many people need, which is I do have a goal. I do have a purpose in my life. I always want to, I always want to develop the society. I always want to help my Islamic nation, the whole world, to become a better world. And I always have this goal, which is what give me meaning in my life. And this meaning is what helped me to sustain all the annoyment. Like studying engineering is something annoying, but what helped me to sustain is that I have a reason for that. And he's come like because in this campaign they saying heal. I think heal, which is each character is stand for something. Like H is stand for heal, A, E, I don't know what is, but like there's accept and love. And here's one of the things I consider to be a blessing of having ADHD and anxiety, which is I always have chance to think. I always have chance to reflect upon my life, to reflect upon who I am, what I want to do. And that's something I believe that many people need. That's something I believe that, unfortunately, I see most of the students will just listen to music the whole day, make their mind busy. You want to avoid boredom at any level. But if you didn't accept boredom, if you didn't, give your mind a chance just to, you know, to be relaxed and to reflect, to just mind that you, without stimulating him, and give yourself a chance to reflect about what you want to do, then how you would like I mean, meaning that if you didn't give your mind a chance just to be free, start to wandering around, how you would able to reflect about yourself. And I do believe that here the students really need to try to give themselves some time to understand, to reflect about the experience, to know what the hell they are doing in their life. Because that is for me one of the most important things that really helped me a lot with whole of stuff, because life is all about suffering. But what helped me to tolerate this suffering is that I choose my own suffering, and this suffering has a meaning for me, has a purpose for me. I choose to suffer purposefully, meaning that I study the whole day, even though that's something annoying, something boring. But since I choose this suffering myself, that's what helped me to achieve my goal, which is I want to establish a new school of thought in psychology, type Islamic proposition. So that's that's the thing that helped me to accept, to tolerate what is happening to me. And and another things as well about mental disorder, that uh, people always people commonly also think that when you have been diagnosed, you would already become stigmatized, or for example, after have been diagnosed, you would always having keep excusing for yourself, keep uh, and some of them saying that maybe you don't have a mental disorder, but after have been diagnosed you would have, because you would keep you would keep believe that you are yourself have a mental disorder, so you would end up having mental disorder. That is a common belief people have, but like I don't believe that this is true. Because Firstly, the role of psychiatry is that he would help to verify whether you really have a mental disorder or you're just pretending. Secondly, is that if you are a difference, it's very useful for you to know that, because after I know my conditions, many of the solution that will be too much acceptable with other people, I start to be aware that maybe it's not acceptable for me. Like, for example, the way that, for example, I have deleted all my social media, I have thrown my phone away. People didn't understand what I'm doing that, and that's still understandable. But like, for me, since I know my conditions, I know what is the issue I have, and I know what kind of effect these things will give to me. So so I was able to make a decision that I believe it will be very useful for myself. And 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 also ADHD, it's really useful for me, since that's something I mentioned at the beginning but I didn't talk about. One of the things that helped me a lot during my second year, fourth semester, is that I start to share some of my writing on Facebook. And I was surprised that people come and tell me that they got very inspired by my writing. My writing is too much deep, you know. And it is since I always thinking the whole day, it really helped me that to have a lot of ideas to write, and that's helped me later on to feel that maybe my life is not that useless after all. Maybe I can do something for the world, and this ADHD can help me to achieve that, since it always allow me to get a lot of thoughts, a lot of creative ideas. And I believe that a mental disorder can contribute a lot to the society. And yes, so like that was my experience. So if it wasn't really organized, I just start speak without any preparation. And I don't know, hopefully you get something out of that. It wasn't just a nonsense. And yes, thank you. And again, I really support what is being started here. Hopefully they can continue and they can flourish in the future. I wish them all the best. Heal campaign, keep it up. I think Simratim Malay, I guess. So all the best.